Hi folks, happy to have you here on the Semantics meetup channel. Here you will find every 14 days our latest video from our meetup where we're discussing with experts and customers about the opportunities of content automation. If you have any questions, just write it in the comments. We will answer them as soon as possible. And don't forget to subscribe our channel. Then we will see you next time here on this channel.
Our guest is Carryboy. Heike has mentioned it already. Pickup accessories. I'm sure you all know the trucks with a bed, and then there are different accessories, hard tops, all around the car. This is what we are going to talk about today. And Carryboy is always interested in selling products whenever there's a new car being launched. The new Ford Ranger, the new pickup, will be launched in 2023 in a new version. And the accessory needs to be available fast. The customers order the car in 2022. At the end of 2022, the pre-order range starts. I go to the dealership and order the vehicle, and then pre-production of the accessory needs already to have started. So I have some pressure to be visible in the market. I'm sure Philip can summarize that much better. I'm going to give him the floor right away. Please introduce yourself, introduce your company, what you do, so that we can have some insight and can understand your everyday work a little bit better. And thank you very much for being here. My name is Philipp Kunz of Carryboy. And as has just been said, we sell pickup accessories. For instance, the hardtops, the load bed covers, but also certain activities where you take off the bed and add another one, and some other minor, smaller parts, for instance, load boxes or devices to hold the product tight on the truck, for instance. What other question did you ask? You can just answer spontaneously. What's interesting, of course, is when you went online, when did you start, and how has the business developed to become an online business? Is that something you wanted to do at the outside? And how old is your company, and what's your background? We are based in Krefeld, and we sell to Germany and the German-speaking region, Germany, Austria, and Switzerland. We are a pure online shop. We only have one central point of sale. We serve our customers from there. The company was founded in 2006. My father founded it. We started very small with some small accessory parts, and we've grown quite a lot. And we don't only cater for the European markets, for the Ford Ranger, for instance, but we also have the full-size brands, the huge US vehicles. The name is also Ford Ranger, but it's the American version of it. It's slightly bigger than the European one. And the full-size trucks, we are almost the only ones to do this. So this is just a rough overview. How many units do you sell per year or month? How many deals do you make through your website? How much comes in, just to give us a rough idea? There isn't much coming in through the website itself because that's a point of information. It's the first point of contact. This means that the customers search for Ford Ranger cover on the internet, they end up at our website and retrieve information. Afterwards, they don't buy through the website because they need consulting. Our products need a lot of consulting and information, and you just don't pay 3,000 euros without consulting. So they call us, write us an email, and afterwards we can conclude the order. The volume, that varies. For instance, during COVID, it was a little difficult for us to sell, and now business has picked up again. So there are fluctuations. I can't give you some precise numbers for this month or next month. That's something I can't predict. So you are not a manufacturer, you are a dealer. Right. We only sell products of brands of renown, for instance, the US and Asia, and Thailand more precisely. And we distinguish ourselves because we have high quality products. And the manufacturers themselves, do they have online shops in Germany or Europe? No. Okay, so they also depend on you to make a good job. We get in touch with them. Once we found someone, we are also present on trade fairs in the US, and we watch what is being offered. And we approach the manufacturers, the OEMs, and try to build up a partnership. The OEMs are not present themselves in this field. We are talking about Asian and manufacturers based in Thailand, and then they will, of course, have an interest in selling abroad, but they don't have a sales structure of their own. So this is very important to know what you're doing. You have different comparable products made by different manufacturers. You are retailers and you don't produce yourselves, but you have the responsibility to sell. And the questions that your customers ask, could you share the first screen? We would like to have a look at your website together with our guests. Have a look at some text, some products, and then it's easier to understand. Can you share your screen, Philip, please? Of course. For instance, this is a 2023 the new Ford Ranger. You see our introduction discount. It is only available as of this year, this new model. Here you see the hardtop products that are listed on this landing page. Here you see one of the products. The customer can retrieve information. What do I want? What are the properties? Of course, the descriptions of the product and the accessories. The first impression the customer gains is this one, and then we start the selling process. So my first impression is, as it should be, I see a lot of content. I see pictures. I have the possibility to configure what I want, central locking, for instance, what kind of windows I want. And then there's quite a long content block. And this is the content part, which is generated in an automated way with AX. Yes. Let's have a look at that. Which is the content that addresses the customer's questions? What did you want to include in this text? What formulations do you want? What is important is to depict the execution. So what will the customer receive? And I don't present our USPs. I don't speak about the differentiation vis-a-vis our competition. Here you see what the customer will get. And this is derived from the product properties. That's not a good example. Let's take another one. For instance, as you can see, I entered all the properties, the product features. And these features are used to generate the content. What the customer is interested in is what they'll get at the end of the day. That's what the customer wants to know at the outset, just for the first impression. You have described the materials, the quality of the materials, the hinges, for instance. And sliding windows were mentioned in a different section. Can I open them? Can I not open them? The year the car was built, so the model and this product. Can I order my cover for this particular pickup? Ordering the wrong product would be fatal, because if you need to return something, that will be quite expensive, so returns need to be avoided. Yes, but of course we have some stocks, and if a mistake happens, If the customer happens, it's a 2019 vehicle and it's a 2023 vehicle, that's not our fault if we get the wrong information. So then the customer needs to pay for the return. Well, mostly we are tolerant unless there's a very rare order that goes wrong. But it's not our aim for this to happen. And this is why we have sales conversations and we ask the customer about all the details. That's interesting. Let's show us another example that's interesting. We will be pleased to see another example. Are you talking about the product? Yes, please. So replacing the load bed fully, you mentioned that. This is a different product. This is where the product is changed completely. Here you replace the bed by something totally different. Here you see the texts, because this is more expensive than the other product, even more expensive, and you really want to be sure what you put in here, what you write, and to explain what the advantages are compared to a hardtop. Here you have some testimonials, and we describe the USPs as compared to a hardtop. But as I said, the customer needs a lot of information and consulting. We don't sell that through the shop. The customers always call us because the product needs to be customized. I mean, we're talking about several thousand euros. Of course, the customer doesn't want to order online. Well, we are rather talking about 10,000 euros. And obviously, this is a kind of booth the customer uses this for to sell it. And this is where I place the merchandise onto the bed. Yes, you can use this very nicely for skiing lift manufacturers because they need to go up onto the hills, and the normal van cannot do this. You need the pickup, but the pickup loading area isn't sufficiently protected. And this is why a CSV is purchased in order to climb the mountain with it and to transport the tools so as to be able to build the skiing lift. This is one of our typical customers for these large models. The customer from the mountains. Very nice. There was something in bold. You get different bullet points and that summarize all the features. And here you have a lot of words mentioned in bold. How did you automate that? What terms did you put in bold? What are the criteria? I mean, aluminum chassis or GFK material, a glass fiber reinforced plastic, in German GFK. Well, bold, I selected the most important properties because I thought if the customer wants to read the text, maybe the customer doesn't have a lot of time, and they just want to know at a glance what the most important features are. And here you see aluminum chassis and glass fiber reinforced plastic. This is mentioned in bold, galvanized as well. And what is left in normal letters is the other text. But also the advantages. What does a galvanized aluminum chassis offer? Well, here in this case, it's also in bold. So you guide the viewer's glance to some words, and then it's easier for them to call you. Is there a call for action? Write us an email for a quote or call us. Where do I find this if you have one call for action? A call for action is down here. It doesn't have anything to do with AX Semantics. It's an extra block underneath the product description. So starting at unser Service an Sie, no, it's all automated. We'll be pleased to consult you in a customer-oriented and comprehensive manner. This is in the first line of the last section. Well, what you see up here, the recommendation has also been automated because all the products need different recommendations. I need to say that the 560 is very well suited for dogs, for instance, because you can have a dog gate. And a different model is suitable for craftsmen because of large lateral areas and you can't look what's inside, see what's inside from the outside. Less fragile. All these features have been automated as content with different triggers and properties. So the reader always gets the right information. The same goes for service, although we have less variance. But what is important is that we provide consulting, that we have a lot of expertise, that we are sustainable, because the product can be used for a long time. You don't buy a hardtop every year, you buy it once and you can use it until you divest of the car or you sell the car and you sell the hardtop with the car. So one hardtop forever. And you use less resources by that. That's interesting. The structure of your company, I'm interested in the following. How many people work at Carryboy and how big is your marketing team? At this point, we are 7 people. I am the marketing team. Basically, we don't have teams. My family, we are not a large corporation. We are a family-owned business. And everybody has to do everything. I am in charge of marketing, but I do everything else if it's necessary, if there is some work to do. But that's exciting. I mean, of course, we have large customers and we advertise and we use the big names, but it's very important to know, I mean, it's a small company, 7 people, family owned, and 1 person for marketing, or maybe half a person because you also have other things to do. So don't offend yourself. It's rather something I'm happy about, that you have such a compact team doing everything and writing such beautiful texts on the products. And obviously your products need content description because they are complex. And then they go into the conversion funnel with a phone call or an email inquiry. I need a written quote. I have a business trade and I need an invoice. I can't just buy something with my credit card online because I need a proper invoice. I have a question. I'd like to let our guests know, if you have a question, please use the F&A or Q&A tool or the chat function. There's one question made by Christian. I'm pleased to read it out for you. The text is quite long in both examples. That is what he likes. He thinks that's good. How many properties and data did you use for this? Or to put it differently, how much content can you produce from one property? Let's say aluminum GFK, glass fiber, plastic. How many sentences can you create with this information? Just give us a rough idea. Well, it depends on the product. There are products that have different features. How much text with one feature, one property? It also depends on the product. Let's say the variants, at least 3. That's my goal. The same property has 1 sentence and 3 variants, so that you can have enough variants. That's a very good insight. Thank you. What else did you pay attention? Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you. I was so enthusiastic about the way you are structured. This is why I intervened. Other than that, well, you need to know your products very well. Because the aluminum property, why do we use aluminum? And why don't we use a glass fiber formed chassis or steel? And I tried to implement all these positive points in one content in a comprehensive manner, but I don't want the people to have to read a whole novel. I mean, it shouldn't be too long, but we have comprehensive texts in general. There was another question, but I have a question as well. Do you use the text to create PDF files for customers or descriptions, descriptions for a quote, or are the texts only used in the web shop? At the moment, we only use it for the web shop. In our quotes, we use the standard text. We only use this part here, as you can see. Highlighted now, these are the properties that give the customer an overview. All the rest is not included in our quotes, and we don't use AX semantics for our quotes either. Okay, great. Gabriele is asking bold and other formats. Can they also be automated? And how do you do that with AX semantics? Maybe you take the first half of the question, I take the second one. This bold, doing it in bold, have you automated this? You just use two asterisks at the beginning and two afterwards. Oh, you already mentioned how it's done. Okay, great. And these bullet points, you do that with the minus sign. And this is here is a normal text, the headline. And then you can select title 1, 2, 3, and you select the type of headline. This is H2, and here you've got the H1. I mean, you also have to be careful with SEO here. Gabriela, I hope that answers your question. You can also enter tables if you want to generate them based on your data to enrich the page. You can also use tables, AX tables, you can generate them. And bold, you've already described that, structuring the headlines. I think that this gives us very good possibilities. Philip, before the next question comes in, I have a question myself. What do you want to do in future? Will we see a global Carryboy? Are you going to attack the US with your work, with your shop? Well, I'm going to tell you what we've done already. What we've done already is the product content, the landing pages. We have text for them as well. And this has been it largely, but I have to say it's a lot of work because all the different categories, the different brands, the different years have their own landing page. Also from the point of view of SEO, if the customer enters Ford Ranger hardtop, the customer only wants to see the Ford Ranger. If we'd done that manually, we would not have been possible. That would have been much too much work. In the past, we had just 2 or 3 paragraphs, and the product descriptions were shorter, and we applied the copy and paste product for the same product with the same text, and then we said Volkswagen instead of Ford. And with AX semantics, it's much easier for us to write comprehensive, larger text addressing the customer's needs. What we want to do now is I've started writing in English. The English website is online already. And you see the same story, the product descriptions, the landing pages. And these were the older texts. I've had them translated with an automatic tool. There might be some mistakes. Hardtop was translated as hardtop, and it's supposed to be canopy. So all the texts, we want to have them translated with AX semantics and also enter the variants. So this is a typical mistake. Hardtop is left in German, and the better term would be canopy. And I can do that with AX, but I can't do that with a translation. So this is a great case for the future. Carryboy goes English. Well, we've been online already, and some queries have reached us already from abroad. And I wouldn't have thought that we would be listed there. But all this needs to be revised. Great. Thank you very much for this insight. I have one more question here by Robert. Probably I have to answer then. With AX, can you also write texts freely based on a briefing? I think that has to do with ChatGPT. Can I write a prompt and AX gives me a text, or do you need to have product data as a list? At this point, you need a list with data. This is accurate, and this is why I have very targeted texts. And it's not an AI deciding on my text. In this case, Philip, maybe the text, you can decide what text you want to have in English. You want to use a specific word and not one possibility of a word to be translated. We have had a similar example with a Danish sportswear manufacturer. The trucks, this is the axle of a roller skate, and it was translated as trucks. So there was a wrong translation. So if you want to avoid these false friends, just well, we had a similar conversation to the one we had in the past, and we have a similar one now with Philip. And Heike, yes, we will have a meetup on that matter, and we will have a professor with us. Let me give you the information on the next meetup already. Professor Gensch of Allen will be our guest. He had carried out a study on ChatGPT. He's a university professor and did a study with his students. What is better, AI texts or manually written texts? So this will be a statement made by the world of academia. And we hope that we will see people who are here today will be there in 2 weeks. So as there are no further questions anymore from the audience, I'd like to thank you very much, Philip, a small team with a lot of power. And you go towards English. You're also offering your product information in English and will adapt. Thank you very much for the way in which you implemented it. I hope that we've been able to answer some practical questions. The only thing that's left for me to say is to say thank you. Thanks to Philip, thanks to Simultando and the interpreter. Thanks to the people in the background who enabled us to have this event and our guests.
A warm welcome to the year 2023 and a warm welcome to the latest meetup of AX Semantics. In this meetup, we have a guest. It's Philip from Carryboy. And what's really interesting is how Philip with his small team is working on a lot of landing pages and product descriptions for Carryboy, a company who sells pickup equipment and all the stuff you need if you want to have business and to make business with your pickup and your equipment. So a really interesting meetup. I hope you will enjoy it. Carry on.